Hello and welcome to round 2 with Foretold Control. Once again, we're on the draw. This hand seems fine. It plays As Foretold on 3. It has an opt to look for removal spells. We have 2 Glimmers. This hand doesn't have any dead cards no matter what we're playing against. And we have a Field of Ruin if we need to clean up anything. This could be a little bit of a problem if we're against a super aggressive deck, or we're against a deck that tries to play a Planeswalker on 4, but looks like we're against Merfolk. That should be interesting. I don't know if this hand's going to be good enough. Well, we have Bontus. This hand's likely going to be good enough. Because if we play the As Foretold on 3, and then we play the Bontus on 4, we should be able to stabilize enough. But there's always the chance that they just run us over and we don't have time to play the As Foretold on 3. And if we don't do that, we probably lose. I think our opponent may have misclicked here, because they floated both mana and then they only played one thing. So I'm thinking that they meant to play like a Silvergill Adept and then they misclicked on the Kumena's speaker. Okay, this is interesting. So I can Moment of Craving here, but I don't really love that if I'm planning on Bontu's and if we miss the land for As Foretold, we're in a really bad spot. Like, if I get to untap with this As Foretold, we're in a position to win this game, but if I have to Bontu's without the As Foretold, there's a good chance that we just lose to whatever they play the turn after the Bontu's. It's like, this hand is kind of slow from them. Like, sure, we're getting hit for a lot, but this Deep Root Elite was probably what they were trying to play last turn, and it would have been a lot more damage than what is currently happening. Yeah, I definitely want to land. Because now we get to Bontu's. Oh, I messed up. I was supposed to play the Field of Ruin instead of the Island. So that way I'd have untapped lands after the Bontu's, but because an Island's better in case I go like triple opt or something, but that's not a huge misplay. Yep, so there's a Merfolk Branch Walker. I'm kind of scared if they have Kumena in hand, because that means that they can start drawing cards the turn after Bontu's. But at the same time, they drew a Forest. So we're going to be taking a whole bunch here. But getting this As Foretold up and running is really important. And they just, like, it's a 4-for-1 here. Well, that Merfolk Branchwalker did do a very good impression of Elvish Visionary. So, we're gonna... There's Opt. I think I'll just play that off the As Foretold to start. Summonings. That's a really good one. I'm gonna keep that because I get to Bontu's. I'm eventually going to get to untap with it, and then we get to play something else. And I really need win cons. It also stabilizes. Oops. Nope. To play Bontu's Last Reckoning. Sweep their board. Then we get to untap Moment of Craving. If they play Kumena here, we can't actually Moment of Craving it, which would be really bad for us. But when we get to untap with this Metallurgic Summonings, the game's probably over. It's like right now we just 4-for-1 them, but they still have 4 cards in hand, and I think they're all spells. Might be Blossoming Defenses, but okay, Deep Root Waters. I think that's pretty good for us, because 1/1s with Hexproof don't do well against bigger creatures from the Metallurgic Summonings. It's like next turn we get to go Metallurgic Summonings, Supreme Will on our turn, Moment of Craving on their turn, just make an army, and then we get to start Glimmering. It's kind of unfortunate that we didn't draw a Swamp there. No, we can Moment of Craving off the As Foretold. Never mind. I don't know, their hand might include a 4-drop that's super scary, but I kind of doubt it. Deep Root Elite. I think they'll probably mill that. Nope, they're keeping it. Huh. Alright. I'll probably. So, oh, there's a second summonings. So next turn we're gonna start going pretty crazy. I don't really know if I even want another land here. I think I probably just want more action. What do we got here? Glimmer. This is a lot of options. I don't think the take is pull here, or what we're going to take is pull here. As well, that's really good with Metallurgic Summonings. Like, as good as making a 5-drop is, and we already have 2 Glimmers, I think we probably just want to take Commit, because that deals with something they can play that's scary. And then we're in a really good position to win here when we just get to go Glimmer on my turn with the Metallurgic Summonings, Glimmer on their turn. This is the power of As Foretold. Like, As Foretold right now is, you know, Black Lotus every single turn. I guess they can keep it because Deep-Root Elite. Yeah, Silvergill Adept, revealing Deep-Root Elite. And they get to create their token. Interesting that they're doing this pre-combat, which I don't particularly agree with, especially with Metallurgic and I'm holding up As Foretold. Like, if I just cast a removal spell here, they're going to get super blown out if they try to attack. It's just like, their hexproof threat can't attack, trade a smaller creature for the Merfolk Branchwalker. To untap, I don't know. I feel like a lot of our opponents have been missing a lot of land drops. Like, we get to play a second Metallurgic Summonings, and this is probably game. Because now we get to make 8 power with our Glimmer, and then we get to make another 8 power on their turn. Fatal Push, Fatal Push. I think I want to keep all of those. Just like, the more removal spells, the merrier. The way we're losing this game with them only on 3 lands is probably them playing Kumena, and I think this lets us deal with a Kumena pretty well. We can just like Moment of Craving one of our token, or we can Fatal Push our own token and then Fatal Push the Kumena, or we have Commit. I think this game is probably over. You know, like, they get to play Deep-Root Elite, which I'm gonna Moment of Craving. Maybe they play Blossoming Defense, but I just don't care. I have Fatal Push. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother Moment of Craving on their turn. I'll just Glimmer. I have Fatal Pushes. I'm going to make a bazillion power. This Bontu's Last Reckoning won us this game. Because they got to just completely blow at our opponent, and then they spent a whole turn on something that didn't impact the board quick enough. I mean, after playing this deck a couple times, there's a lot of cards. This deck feels fine. It's not great. It's not terrible. I think I just want more stuff. I don't really need more lands. But I think Metallurgic Summonings might have a place in Standard. There are always a lot of ways to kill it that people are playing, like Thrashing Bronchdon, but if you play against a non-green deck, they usually just can't take it off the table. I guess they can Duress or Negate, but the thing is, once you get this card into play, it's just almost unbeatable. You just go absolutely crazy. Turns on all their creature removal, but this is somewhat... Like, the Scarab God here would have been okay, but against all this, like, they might have just unsummoned it, and then I'd be really sad. But right now, I'm just gonna... I guess I'll Moment of Craving on my turn. Kill the Deep-Root Elite, and then I'll start attacking. Like, what's awesome is I have... I'm gonna attack with everything. And they're probably gonna die here, because... Like, they don't have outs. I'm holding up, what? Double Fatal Push, 2 counter spells? Yeah, they're just gonna have to start chump blocking. I'm not really seeing what their out is here. If they had more lands, they could River's Rebuke and maybe force it through somehow, but... there's just not much they can have here. There's a Deep-Root Waters. That doesn't affect the board. I'm just going to Fatal Push down all their stuff. Kill your Merfolk Branchwalker. Kill your Silvergill Adept. And we're done here. wait for Magic Online to let me sideboard, and yep. Okay, so this is definitely a Bontu's Last Reckoning matchup. I think this is also a Moment of Craving in matchup. Sorcerous Spyglass is okay because it turns off Kumena, but I feel like we have enough ways to deal with it with Fatal Pushes, with 8 Revolt Enablers. I think this isn't a pull matchup. They're going to bring in Spell Pierce. It's possible I want Duresses to fight their Spell Pierces and Deep Root Waters, but at the end of the day, I feel like I just don't care a ton, and I'm already having to cut some cards that I potentially don't want to. Consign to Oblivion might be one of them. This card is really good, but its main purpose is bouncing walkers and then making them discard because our answers to them aren't very well, and it's just like something that slipped through the cracks. And I feel like all their stuff that slips through the crack is just creatures. Maybe we don't want this many Moment of Cravings with 4 Bontus. I feel like that might be correct. Just like, I already have 10 ways to deal with it, plus the 4 Wraths. They are a green deck, so they can deal with our As Foretold, which kind of stinks. But they don't have Thrashing Brontodon, so it's just going to be Naturalizes. And Naturalizes are not something I'm super scared of, because that forces them to spend 2 mana on their turn. Well, I guess it could be on ours, but like, if they're stopping their beatdown plan, I don't need As Foretold to win. I can just Wrath them. I can just beat them the fair way. I don't know why Magic Online keeps opening the chat. This seems fine. This has a Bontu's, it has a Fatal Push with Revolt. They have no 1-drop, which is really good for us. Makes me think they have Silvergill Adept, or that, or some other, or a lot of other lords. We have double Fatal Push, so we have a couple options here. We might want to Bontu's, and then, yeah, there's the Deep Root Elite. So option 1 is I let them overextend into a Bontu's, but I don't know if that's the greatest plan. I think a better plan is just Fatal Push this Deep Root Elite. And force them to put a ton onto the board instead of just like a Lord or 2 and a Deep Root Waters and then go crazy. Yeah, they only have 2 lands again. Yeah, they did have the Silvergill Adept. Shaper Apprentice. I don't know if I agree with that inclusion. This seems kind of underpowered. I'm gonna play an Evolving Wilds here, because that allows me to push a Kumena if they play one. And Field of Ruin would only work if they played a non-basic. They probably do run Hashep Oasis, but at the same time, they might not, because Hinterland Harbor, along with the other cards. So I'm gonna let that resolve. Well, I can't counter it. I don't know if I particularly want to. I think I'll go after it, actually, because this forces them to just keep playing threats into my stuff. I can save a Bontu's for when they go crazy. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm just supposed to let them go crazy. But at the same time, they play like 3 threats, I have to Bontu's, and then I'm totally tapped out. And I can already deal with the Kumena with this Commit to Memory. I think I'm going to just play As Foretold, though. Because if they have a Naturalized effect, they have to spend their whole turn doing it. They have no pressure on board. And if they don't have anything, I can just Bontu's at some point, a couple turns from now, and leave up Commit to Memory to save the As Foretold. And like, if they naturalize my As Foretold, I'm kind of happy. There's a Merfolk Mistbinder, so they did have a Lord. Like, this deck is super full of Lords. It's Metallic Mimic, it has Merfolk Mistbinder, it has Kumena and Deep Root Elite, which makes the token plan make more sense. While I am taking 5 here, I think I want to wait a turn, just because there's, I don't know, it depends what I draw. Because it's kind of important to be able to not Bontu's get the As Foretold killed and then they just keep playing out stuff and then I lose, because they do have more cards in hand than I do, because I keep playing out lands. That's one of the problems with control. Sometimes you just play out a bunch of lands and then die because your lands aren't beating threats. Is while you do have more efficient answers, you know. There's a Deep-Root Waters. I don't think I want to play against that. I'm going to commit that. Because after a Wrath, so I'm going to put that into the library, and then I'm going to Wrath on my turn, get to leave up Essence Scatter with the As Foretold. Because if I let that resolve, I'm going to have to find a Metallurgic Summonings, otherwise I'm just going to get overwhelmed by Hexproof tokens, because I don't have a card like the Scarab God or Torrential Gearhulk to block them. Which is one of the upsides of this deck. It's not strictly worse than just a control deck, because I'm going to bottom that. I just don't need more lands. I'm going to, like, I turn off all my opponent's removal. If they're spending it on just random bad cards that don't matter, like, I'm thrilled. And, like, now I get to leave up Essence Scatter, second Essence Scatter. It's an unclaimed territory. Like, if they just start playing a bunch of creatures out, I just get to counter them, and then they get to do something on their turn. I'm eventually going to memory. Like, they're not in a great spot here. I'm going to counter that. I'm just going to go aggressively countering their stuff. I don't know, these Essence Scatters are making me think Moment of Craving might be better, because it deals with the stuff once it's already in play, and most of the, like, almost anything that's not Kumena is just, I'd rather just have Moment of Craving, because then I also gain life, I get to kill their stuff, usually. If they just naturalize my As Foretold here, I'm going to be pretty sad. There's a Deep-Root Waters that I knew they had. They just spent their whole turn to play a 3-mana thing that, like, slowly kills me. Well, I get to untap here. And then I get to Glimmer for free. And then I'm going to Glimmer for free on their turn. So I'm going to top both. And just kind of be thrilled about this. Like, As Foretold's really powerful. Like, this card has already made back its mana investment, like, 10 times over. So I get to Glimmer for free on their turn. And then I get to Glimmer for free on my turn. And then eventually I'm going to get to cast Memory if I need to. Which I might need to if I don't find a win con quick enough. I'm going to Glimmer for free. It also, like, lets me play around Spell Pierce super well. I'm going to bottom both lands. I already have an As Foretold. Yeah, and there's a Bontu's Last Reckoning that I get to cast for free. I'm going to let that resolve because I'm just probably going to Bontu's. Now I get to Glimmer. I'm going to top both. I don't know, maybe this deck wants some way to use energy, simply because I keep ending up with a ton of it. But now I have all my lands untapped. I have As Foretold on both turns to deal with threats. I'm gonna find my Metallurgic Summonings eventually. This card probably won me this game, because otherwise, like, there were plenty of ways I was losing this game if I didn't get to have just now I get to bottom lands and stuff like that. I guess I'll just play a second As Foretold for free. But, like, their hand does nothing. I think I'm going to stop on their upkeep and just make them draw Deep-Root Waters later. So I can't cast this for free because I already cast As Foretold. Like, it's just super powerful that I'm just like, oh, you're going to draw a dead card more. And these Commit to Memories, they're not that much worse than Vraska's Contempt. And that's the thing about being a budget deck in Standard. Sometimes they're a lot worse. Like, Supreme Will is oftentimes a lot worse than Disallow. Like, I can't deal with Planeswalker Ultimates as well. I can't, like, late game they're a lot more dead, and then I have to spend mana to look. And I guess they're better with Summonings. Like, there's pros and there's cons. I'm just going to counter that. I'm just not going to let them have any threats. I guess I'll just look and see what's going on. I think I'll just take another Supreme Will. No reason to have a Bontu's. I just don't need it. And, like, this is where Commit to Memory would be really powerful because they won't be able to deploy their threats super well. But there's not really much of a reason to do that. I normally commit to memory once I've exhausted all their threats. Lets me tick up my As Foretold as long as possible. Lets me try to find a Metallurgic Summonings, and then afterwards I would just commit that. I'll just try to keep the board clear. And that's a long-term threat. I guess I'll just shuffle that away. These Field of Ruins let me take out some basics so I'm not drawing them later. This deck is super powerful. I suspect that if I went in a league instead of a two-man queue, I'd probably do a little worse. But if you're starting off, which is where the budget decks mostly come in, you're starting off with a new account, you can totally just buy a deck like this, or an even cheaper deck that I might showcase in the future, and then you just get to absolutely, you know, you get these super cheap decks, you can grind up to leagues, and then you can do a lot of stuff like that. I don't think I need another As Foretold. Like, that would just be so greedy. I'm just going to take Moment of Craving. There's no reason to take another As Foretold. Like, I'm not seeing a world where I need, like, to be casting 4 spells a turn. It's like I can memory here. I just feel like their hand's empty. There's very few spells. Like, Deeper Waters, even that, like, I just don't care that much. Like, I haven't found a... Yeah, like, I'm going to get to sit here. I'm going to get to grind them for a little bit. Once I feel like there's a chance that I lose, then... Or I feel like I'm running out of answers, then I'll put everything back. Yeah. Okay, sure. I'm not really sure why they left in River Herald's Boon. Like, the two-man queues are certainly less competitive. Actually, I messed that up. I should have an extra 2 life. I should have let that resolve, would have gained the 2 life, and then I would have gotten to untap. Like, those are small misplays that'll cost you games every once in a while. I don't think this is one of those games, but I've memory into nothing. Okay, I'm just gonna play the Metallurgic Summonings here, and then I'm gonna wait a whole turn, and then I'll memory. Because I feel like tapping out a bunch of mana, probably not great. They have nothing. Like, I'm a little surprised they haven't drawn a Naturalized yet, but it's possible they didn't board it in just because they think that they don't want to clog up their early game with it. But, like, now I get to just... Oh, nope. Let's play a Swamp first. So that way, that's 1 less Swamp to draw, and it also means that we get to keep the land drops in hand if we don't draw a ton. Like here, we would be out of land drops, but now we have an extra turn's worth. I guess a little Moment of Craving. Like, this is what's so powerful. I've already played a bunch of lands, so now I have, like, infinite mana. I have a bunch of blockers. At some point, I'm going to get to pop the Metallurgic Summonings and get back everything, with the As Foretold's in play to let me cast stuff super quickly. Just go crazy countering every... Like, I can just grind out their hand, or I can let them resolve a bunch of stuff in Bontu's. This Bontu's is more just, like, almost as, like, a big Pyroclasm. It's like, it's not there to be damnation, wipe out, like, 10 drops. It's more there to... It's more there to just, like, help me survive the early game, because I'm winning the end game super easily with 4 Glimmers, commit to memories to draw me into more stuff. I'm just gonna start mowing down their threats. Cast. Why? Why, Moto? Why is your interface so bad? Just, like, I should not have, like, 8 options. They're negating. And see, that's kind of a suspect play. Because, at the end of the day, they just spent 2 mana to make a Metallic Mimic. And I think they could have used that negated... They could have used that negate on something like Bontu's later on. And, like, their cards just don't matter as long as they don't play an unblockable threat. You're like, I'll just cast this for free, and I'm going to get to commit for free. Yeah, like, did they just draw a whole bunch of negates? I don't think they boarded in Naturalized, which is kind of strange against a Metallurgic Summonings deck that's trading up so much mana. And I also have As Foretold. Yep. I think I'll just take Opt. Just Opt. Make another 1/1. This card can really go off. And now I get to return everything if I need to. Because now I can just start attacking with everything. I have Fatal Push and Moment of Craving. Might just do that on their end step. Yeah, like I was just going to cast Moment of Craving, and then I was going to return everything with Metallurgic Summonings and untap and kill, well, almost kill them. And then I have about 8 removal spells. Yeah, see you next round.